Hello and welcome to Crusher Talk. I am your friend Hayley Crusher Kane, and I am here with my correspondents Gidget Crusher and Peyton Manning Crusher here in Belfair, Washington. And Gidget is looking at me directly, and she is so cute, and I cannot get over how cute her little face is. She's just adorable. Peyton Manning is under the covers snuggling, and Gidget is having her busy bone, which has been a lifesaver here at my mom's house in Belfair, Washington. It's been drizzly and rainy, and even though I did purchase some very cute yellow raincoats for both dogs, thinking, they hate the rain, they're from Mexico, they don't like cold weather, thinking that this would be a great thing for them so that we could continue to go on walks and excursions. But as it turns out, they just have no interest in going outside and doing stuff when it's gray and drizzly like it is today. It's very, very gray. So these busy bones have been very, very helpful because they're just cooped up. Hi, hopefully you're not cooped up. It is January 13th, and this is probably the week that you are slipping from your resolution, or maybe you're still in it and you're in it to win it, and you're going to the gym and you're doing all the stuff you're supposed to be doing, but perhaps you are slipping, and I'm here hopefully to help you in case you need a little support right now. Because as we get into January and as we get into just literally the first few weeks of the year, it's amazing to consider how much has happened in our country and in the world. And I don't have to tell you what kind of horrors we're seeing on the news and on TV. But as I've mentioned time and time again, my purpose here is to be an alternative to what you are doing probably all the time, which is refreshing, looking at the news, refreshing, looking at the news, refreshing the page, looking at the news. Or like I do, I like to listen to political podcasts that drive me absolutely crazy. So we all do need a little bit of a alternative. So hopefully this can be like somewhat soothing at a hard and scary time for our country, to mark it here for history and for all time. We have gotten to the point where ICE agents are killing people, and I had a long conversation with AI recently about this and when this would happen, and AI, Claude specifically, was telling me that this would probably happen in Chicago during the occupation of Chicago, and what was it called? Operation Midwest or something stupid. Oh my God, it was so dumb. That was what was going to happen, and somebody was going to get shot. But lo and behold, again, Minnesota has to really hold up the world. And I'm thinking about everybody in Minnesota, and it's been cool to see all the protests and things happening across the country and also across the world. I mean, a lot of countries are concerned about us right now, even as their governments are marching towards the right. And I appreciate that. But all this to say, we need to focus on the things we can control. And so today I'm going to talk about a little of that. And hopefully this is somewhat comforting at a very crazy flashpoint in our history as a country. By the way, they say most uh, governments and most um, what's the word? Empires. There we go. Most empires fall, or governments fall within the 250-year time span, and we're kind of coming up on that. So, okay, all right, let's move on. Okay, so I'm here in Belfair, Washington with my mom, and I decided to go with her to the local YMCA, which is really pimp. They have fireplaces, they have cryo massage chairs, they have a heated pool, okay? And I noticed the first day I went to the Y and did some weightlifting, I could see from up above on this multi-story walking track. Yes, this is a very fancy Elks Lodge in Belfair. Um, Actually, is it the actual Belfair? Okay. And did I say Elks Lodge? Oh my God. You guys, I'm losing it. YMCA is what I meant to say. Um, I'll tell you why I said Elks Lodge because it kind of does make sense in my mind now. But okay, so the YMCA. So I'm on this like elevated walking track, and I could look below through the glass and see my mom and her friends, and her classmates doing water aerobics. And I thought, well, that looks so interesting. And so the next time we went to the Y, again, I did weights and met her after her water aerobics class. But then the third time she went to the Y, I said, you know what? I'm going to do the class with you. It looks way too fun to pass up, and I want to try it. So I got in my little pink bikini, which is really not the outfit to be wearing for a athletic class. I felt very silly. Also being at least 30 years younger than most of the people in the class, but whatever. I showed up, and my mom helped outfit me in what I needed, which was a belt that is like a buoyant floaty belt that keeps you floating in the water, and some water weights, which they feel very weightless in the normal atmosphere, but once you get underwater, they create a nice resistance for your muscles, and a paddle, like a little paddle board, and a little water weenie, and got all my stuff together. We got in the pool, and I have to say, I loved the class. I thought it was so fun. There was no music involved, it was just a single lady who I have to say is really an inspiration because she was able to list off the names of everyone in the class, and there's probably like at least 20 or more people in the class, mostly older women, but some men, mostly retired. Um, Everybody knew me as Kat's daughter, which I thought was very sweet, and my mom has a little cat on her hair, what is it called? Little like water bonnet thing that keeps the water out. Her actual name is Kathleen, but she goes by Kat when she's ordering coffee or in an exercise class, apparently, because it makes it easier to remember her name. It was very cute. Everybody was super helpful. I had lifted weights a couple times prior to that, was getting back into my weightlifting thing, and so I was feeling a little bit sore because I had been using some machines that I hadn't used before, going to a new gym, and my gym that I go to is very janky, and there's like four machines, and I just use those, and I know exactly what they do. And so going to these fancy Ys where there's all these fancy new fangled things, and I was able to try lots of stuff, but I think I might have tweaked myself a little bit by going too far. So it was amazing to do the water aerobics and get a bit of resistance, but also a lot of stretching, and the fact that it's really, really good on your joints. It really felt like I was like having an off, like a relaxed day, kind of like a repair day for my muscles, but at the same time I was getting a little bit of cardio. You're kind of paddling the whole time, you're floating. And that's also really fun, which makes me wonder why there is this age gap in water aerobics. Why don't more young people do water aerobics? I was on Reddit looking around, and some people said that they feel like they'd like to do it more, but the times that the water aerobic classes are held are usually when most younger people are working, or perhaps they're with their kids and they're too busy, so it's better for retired people and empty nesters. I don't know. But I think it's really, really fun. You're really just joshing around in the water, splashing around with a bunch of people who are also having fun in the water. There's really fun like moves we did. And I'll tell you what the moves are, and you can imagine what they are. There's the leprechaun. There was the bear crawl. There was ride the pony. Um, See, there's a lot. There were a lot of cool ones, and we were just having a good time splashing around. And there was a lot of endorphins and happy chemicals just surging through my brain. And I just thought, why is this not a thing that younger people consider as a good water aerobics, like a good aerobic exercise? So I was very surprised at how fun it was. It is very joint friendly, so if you have, issues with your joints, very helpful. I feel like it could be rebranded, and gyms could sort of like market the water aerobics to athletes and people that need like low impact fitness. And I even think there could be an element of like combining it with synchronized swimming and maybe like some red lipstick and some cute outfits. I just think, like ice skating gets to do that. Why does ice skating get to do that? I famously joined an ice skating class when I was very young at the mall in Southern California because I thought the outfits were cute, and I'm actually not half bad on the ice, I found out recently, because I went down to the ice skating rink in Detroit, downtown, and I'm still okay at it. But it was really the outfits that attracted me, and I just feel like we could have some really cute water aerobics outfits too, to brand to the people who are into that sort of thing. Or we could just kind of keep it really sporty and, don't do the music and just have somebody calling out the moves, which is kind of the thing I went to. So I don't know. I just think we could rebrand it. I think it could be really fun. I came out of the water feeling so good. I do feel like I got a workout. I got my heart rate up. I mean, what more do you want? Okay. To have fun and to be like, wow, this hour class is already over. Like, that's what we want in life. Why are we torturing ourselves? Um, I've been writing on my Substack every other Thursday, kind of pulling things from the Crush Reverse Vault and talking about experiences from my past, a lot of it being teenage years, but every once in a while I'm throwing in something a little bit different. I recently wrote about Kathy Valentine of the band The Go-Go's, bass player for The Go-Go's, and I basically reworked a piece that I wrote for Bust years ago, and just kind of, I don't know, I was very drawn to her story through her memoir. Um, and so I just felt like, it was her birthday, let's repost this. And so I put it on Substack with some extra photos and some thoughts and just kind of like revisited that. And I will be writing something about my upcoming 3 years sobriety off alcohol, which is coming up in February. I've been working on that and thinking a lot about how quitting alcohol has affected my life. And I think it really ties into this like health journey that I'm talking about and learning about like how to take care of myself better, which I think also fits into the larger scheme of what can we control in these hard times, what can we do, and maybe for you it's not quitting alcohol, maybe it's quitting something else, or perhaps it's just trying a new exercise, whatever. But hopefully I can be an example of being open-minded and trying something new and how that's really affected me and helped me. And I think that sobriety piece is going to come out. I think early February would be appropriate because that's when my sober birthday is. So, anyways, I'm working on that, and I'm going to be posting something this Thursday about some background on the song Cul-de-Sac, which came out in 2021. It was my first big single that came out on Kitten Robot Records right after we got signed. And it's an interesting kind of story and just something fun, like a fun throwback piece. So get ready for that. If you're not following me on Substack, go do that. I've been really drawn to the longer format writing and it being a nice alternative to just the constant quick updates and posting of Facebook and Instagram, which are fun and important for a band to do. But at the same time, right now we're going through a phase of demoing. We're going through a phase where like Dr. Kane and I are not in Detroit with our bandmates. So as we're kind of like out here on the West Coast doing our own thing, it really lends itself towards some self-reflection time. And although we are working on music, working on demos, and in the mixing process for some new stuff, and we've actually pinned down the projected dates for a new album. And we're talking with the label about singles and like when stuff's going to come out. Are we going to do music videos and all this fun stuff? I'm at a kind of a unique time here on the West Coast, and so the more I can lean into that, the better. So, I mean, I won't always be able to lean into these long form Substack pieces, so enjoy them while they last. And like I said, that's every other Thursday from the Crush Reverse Vault pieces. And then every Tuesday, this is your Substack podcast, Crush Talk with Hayley. And I'll continue to show up on Tuesdays. So we have a new gig coming up. It is St. Louis with Screeching Weasel, and there is a mystery guest, which is cool. This is coming up actually really soon, and I'm just realizing now I don't even have the dates like pulled up on my computer, which is so fun. But this is why we put stuff in the show notes, because I will not remember. Oh, wait, here's a graphic. Okay, so this show just got announced, I think last week it was. That's April 18th. It's going to be at the venue called Red Fang in St. Louis with Screeching Weasel. And I'm excited to hear who will be the to be announced very special mystery direct support. Stay tuned for that. Wanted to let you guys know, just in case you need tickets for any of those spring dates, most of the ticket links are live. They're ready to go, and you can get tickets now. I do recommend that you do, because I know that for some of these markets, Screeching Weasel has not been to some of these towns in a very long time, and the diehard fans are going to sell these out. So, go do yourself a favor. Screeching Weasel is in rare form. They sound incredible. It's a really good, solid live performance. So it's not just about the nostalgia of the songs, although that's a huge, exciting plus. There is just a renewed energy with the band, and I know I haven't seen them back in the day, but from whatever everyone's telling me and from what I've experienced and seen and heard and witnessed at these shows, this is a group of people who are just unmatched. They're really skilled, really passionate, and just the energy at you is just awesome. It's not the kind of show where you go see a band you liked, a couple decades ago, and you walk away feeling like, well, why did I do that to myself? I didn't need to experience it that way. I mean, I know I've seen The Damned a few times recently where I'm like, I should have just kept it with the Damned show I saw in the early 2000s when they were a comeback group, and that was fun. And Patricia Morrison had a fan that was blowing her beautiful, luxurious locks all around her face. Why did I just that could have been the last time? You will not feel this way about Screeching Weasel. In fact, I've heard a lot of people say that this is the best they've sounded. I know Ben has said that. So do yourself a favor, get tickets. I mean, I don't know when this is all going to happen again. The way I'm treating this experience of the amazing opportunity to open for them is that who knows how long this lasts, and it's been wonderful. So maybe this is our last run with them. We don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully not, but this has been a really special experience nonetheless, and we're gearing up to do it all over again in March and April. So all that to say, ticket links are live. If you're on the fence, it's absolutely worth it. Go do yourself a favor and go see Screeching Weasel with Hayley and the Crushers opening, and of course the Queers. I could go on about the Queers, but we'll save that for the next one. So I wanted to kind of wrap this up by just talking about the whole taking care of yourself, self-care. What can you do when the world is on fire and there's so much anxiety and so much frustration, anger? I know a lot of people are feeling a sense of apathy, a sense of what can I do? What is the point? And I'm actually not going to tell you to do anything, because I just feel like that's such a personal thing. And whether you're able to donate money or volunteer, or I even, you could just tell your neighbors who are immigrants, hey, if some shit gets weird, come to my house. Like, I don't know, like there's so many things that we can do that are very small, but even though they're small, they could potentially be difficult for you in your life and what you have going on. Everybody has different schedules. Everyone has different limitations. I know for right now, for me and Dr. Kane, it's like we have a renter situation in California with a plumbing emergency that's happened that's going to cost a lot of money and time. I recently lost a client that I've had for years that I've depended on. Maybe not lost, but it's on pause for the moment. We're dealing with our own feelings of anxiety and stress about the future, but we know that things will be fine, and we know that things will correct, and that we have the capability to rise above this and figure it out, because this is what life is, right? So I'm never gonna judge anyone or tell them you need to do this, you need to do that. And I really disliked that mentality in 2020, especially with the Black Lives Matter and the COVID at the same time. If you guys remember how crazy that was, and how not only were we just freaking out in general, but we were also keeping eyes and ears on people around us, and really policing people and self-aggrandizing and performing for people about what great people we are, blah, blah, blah. Like, honestly, fuck that. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself, your community, and if you can do more, great. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you to do X, Y, and Z because, my God, if you haven't figured it out recently, if you've been living under a rock, I mean, there are powers at be that are just metastasized in our political landscape at the moment, and it doesn't do anyone any good to try to beat a dead horse. Not to say that we can't change the course of history here or that there's not things that can be done, but focus on yourself first because that's where everything starts, and from there you can help other people and you can be there for your community and your kids and your family. So I think making sure that you're doing things just for joy, doing sort of an analog play session where you're not on the screen. For me, it's been painting. I've been really feeling connected to painting and in the moment. This new water aerobics thing was just an eye-opening experience because I hadn't felt that sense of childlike, playful, happy, feeling. It's similar to playing on the playground or like playing an instrument. It's just for joy. It's good for your body. It primes you so that when you go out into the world, you have a little bit of reserve for yourself so that you can give to others. Community and connection is so important, and that could be as simple as podcasts that you relate to and feel supported by. It could be live music, going to shows, group fitness classes, art classes. It could just be getting on a call with a friend. Just like these little things help us stay grounded when it feels like, there's so much change and upheaval happening in the world and so much anxiety. So yeah, whatever that is for you, I hope that you're working on that, and I hope that you're unleashing your best self for 2026. And if you're not unleashing your best self, well, that's okay. Maybe you can just go splash around. Until next time, sparkle hard, and I will catch you on the flip side. Ta-ta!